Give me a P.
P.
Give me an H.
H.
Give me a B.
B.
What do you say?
Go. Yay.
Give me a P.
P.
Give me an H.
H.
Give me a B.
B.
What do you say?
Go. PHB.
Go PHB. I love
Yay.
it. Welcome back to our Promotion Pro series, and this month's topic is the end of the year power up, which is such a timely topic being December. Hi everybody, I'm Josephine Hanna, but you can call me Jose. I'm the founder of Promote Her Business, where we promote your business and each other. Say it with me now. Online, offline, all the time. You got it. And last time we talked all about how to really have the best month of December and what to think about in terms of your holidays and your holiday marketing, and if you're a vendor, and things to reflect on. So if you missed that interview, make sure that you do go back and listen to Linea's interview. It is a must listen to. And we had such glowing reviews of Linea Hagen, both at our 2017 Year of Women Entrepreneurs Conference, as well as from interviews that we've done with Linea, that we are inviting her back for a second interview of this month. And most of you probably already know Linea, but if you don't, I want to tell you all about her. So Linea is the president of the Abundance Company. She's a business turnaround specialist, a strategist, and a leadership development expert. She's also a best-selling author, radio host, and professional speaker, and she has been in customer service and sales since she was 18 years old. I mean, she has basically grown up a salesperson and entrepreneur and having customer service in her blood, so I think she's definitely a great person to really learn from and take some good notes from. She's also worked with Disney, HP, and AT&T, and now we have the pleasure of having her in our very own PHB community. She's going to help us as women entrepreneurs and male allies go to a level we've never gone before in 2018. So, Linea, are you there?
I'm here, and I'm ready.
Woo, I like it. I like it. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so excited to have you. So I wanted to start off by asking you, what is the point of really reflecting on your past year as opposed to just moving forward?
Those who do not study the past tend to repeat it. I can't remember who said that. It was a very wise philosopher. It's absolutely true. If you don't study history, you're doomed to repeat it. So the possibilities that come out of studying the last year and understanding what didn't go quite right, what mistakes you made, but also what you learned, you are kind of doomed to go back into the same mistakes. So we need to be really, really clear. We need to take a good hard look into the mirror and say, where did I flub? What could I have done better? And then make a commitment from that and use those as touchstones and learning points to move forward with more speed and more wisdom in the days ahead.
Mm-hmm. And I'm curious, I mean, how long have you been personally doing reflection? Is this something new, or is this something you've been doing a long time?
You know, I think that it's something that I've been doing probably most of my adult life. You know my personal story, not everybody does, but there have been instances where I haven't done my best, when I've made some bad choices, and without taking time to learn from those and make a commitment to turn the corner, I wouldn't have achieved or done as much as I've done at this point in my life. We need to use the mistakes as stepping stones. We can kind of pile them up, depending on what perspective we want to take, and use those to grow and to be something better and to step higher. Mm-hmm. So I think I've done most of my life, actually, because with the losses that I had very early on in life, I just learned how to use that as not as manure, but fertilizer. And I think we really all need to do that and use it to enrich us.
Mhm. That's so powerful. And I can just see, I mean, just the visual you created with having those be like stepping stones, all the mistakes to really get to that next level. I mean, that's an awesome visual. And when you can visualize it, you can do it, right?
Exactly.
So how long does it take to do reflection?
That's, that there's really no pat answer for that. I'd say until you feel like you have emptied yourself and then refilled yourself. So it might take 10 minutes. It could take giving yourself a retreat, which I try to do every year, is go away for 3 days by myself at the beach. Sometimes I've gone to Cabo San Lucas and just write and reflect. And so, we need to take the time to do it. That's the main thing, is spending some time to do it. Nearly every day I spend 15 minutes in the morning doing some reading that I do, some inspirational reading, and then reflecting and seeing how I can use that to grow. So, but we need to make the commitment. We need to set aside some sacred time for ourselves and keep that appointment with ourselves just as we would with any other professional, like a doctor or a dentist or a lawyer. We need to respect ourselves at that level and just do it.
And for, some people in our community have been doing it for years. Some people, this is like the first time they're really getting into that energy, or they might have been wanting to do it. And then maybe they sit down and they're like, kind of like meditation, now what, right? So are there any questions that you should really be asking yourself to set yourself up for success?
There are two main questions. One is, what didn't I do so well at? What didn't quite work the way I was hoping? That's one question. And then the second one is, what did I do well? What worked? What can I celebrate? So that's kind of a sub-question of question number two.
I love it. And I hope everybody's taking some copious notes, because you're going to want to remember those questions when you actually sit down. Because I know a lot of times we hear great ideas on this call, but if we don't document them, they kind of disappear, right? So make sure.
Make lists.
Make lists.
Yeah. And it really helps to do something at least weekly. Reflect at the end of the week. And then on Sunday night, make a list of the things you intend to accomplish that week. We need to document things. It doesn't sound very glamorous, but it's a way of really writing into our journal of to create the path forward.
Absolutely. And something I'll just piggyback on that we're recommending to everybody in PHP is to make sure you have a PHP folder on your computer, and make sure to be documenting what you're learning on this Promotion Pro series into your notes of like the best practices that you're hearing, and then you just have everything in one spot. And if it's not on your computer, sometimes it's easy to get lost. So even if you're taking handwritten notes, please take a picture of what Lydia said about the 2 questions to ask yourself, and then post it into your PHP folder on your computer. Okay, wonderful. So when you're reflecting, let's say you're reflecting on the past, the past year of 2017, should you just focus on business? Should you focus on personal? Should you do a combo? Like how does that work?
We bring all of who we do into our business, all of who we are. We bring all of who we are into everything we do. I don't believe that there is a personal self and a business self, because what's holding you up in your personal life is probably the same thing that's going to be holding you up in your business life. So we need to reflect on a personal level. We need to reflect on what is called the 9 environments of you. What are the networks that you're tied into? Essentially, the 3 degrees of separation. How about your relationships? Go through every single relationship that you have with the people you're closest to, and think about those. Think about how you're taking care of your physical environment, including your body. These are such important issues that are part of the looking in the mirror and being really honest about what's going on in our lives and how things are impacting our business. So if you're stuck, and I wrote a book called Stuckness with Insights and Tips to get unstuck, get going, and get what you want. We can't ignore the personal when it comes to our business self. We don't just lock our personal self aside when we enter the door to do whatever it is that we're doing professionally. It's just not possible. So it's absolutely essential to reflect on what is going on with you spiritually, physically, emotionally, intellectually, and take good notes on that. And I use for myself, I kind of look at a list, and there's things that just need to be disposed of. And there's a final scene in the first Godfather movie when Don Corleone has died and his son Michael has taken over as the new Don. And Michael sends out his hitman. And this is pretty graphic, but it works really well because sometimes we just have to build up to this point where are our enemies? And usually they're living inside of us, and we just need to go out there and go boom, 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 and we need to take care of them and get them away from us and the operations of our business, including the business of who we are.
Mm-hmm. That's really great. And what I'm hearing in that is it's looking at your relationships, but the more unobvious thing is it's also the relationship with you.
The relationship with you, how you treat yourself. Are you growing yourself spiritually? Are you taking care of your health? Are you interacting enough with nature? Nature is really the universe or our higher powers nurse. It's all those things. And so we really need to continue to edit those things that aren't working for us, because we're continuing to change and our environments change, and we grow. We need to be editing to have whatever all pieces of who we are match with who we are becoming.
And the other thing I really loved is, what you said about not the separation between the personal and the professional. A lot of times in the corporate world, I know you have a lot of corporate experience. I definitely have corporate experience. Right. Is, you often hear, leave your baggage at home, your personal doesn't belong at work. I mean, these are just very common phrases. And I just love how, once again, you're inspiring entrepreneurs, and especially women entrepreneurs, to lead the way to a new culture about how to be in the world of the world and really take on not having to just default to what, they might have heard at corporate jobs.
That is so essential, especially for women, because my hunch and my belief and my own personal experience is that we are tending to a whole lot of things. We're trying to take care of everybody, and the last person we're taking care of is ourselves. And when I first started my coaching business, I was teaching classes and doing speaking on something called extreme self-care. And we are not filling our own cup. We cannot drink from an empty cup when we're emptying the cup for everybody else. And if we are going to be there to do our passion and to bring our gifts to the world, we need to make sure that we have a full cup for ourselves. It's the airplane analogy of putting your own oxygen mask first before assisting others. We absolutely need to do that. And I said something a little bit earlier about having that sacred time and honoring that. Put it in your calendar. Put it in your calendar. If your calendar comes in 15-minute blocks, I like having a paper calendar, but it doesn't work so well when you have, things that you have to carry on your phone. But if you put it in 15-minute blocks, block out 15 minutes to just sit and do some deep breathing and meditation or quiet time. You need to do that and see what floats to the surface. Set an intentionality to see some things more clearly. set an intentionality to to see what it is that's kind of niggling at you, and what is kind of holding you back. It's almost like we have a weight tied to our ankle that we're dragging around. What is that? And listen for the answer. We absolutely, essentially need to do that for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. And that really ties into another question, which is, when you think of having a full cup, you think of having a certain level of success, right, that you're playing for, or happiness in your life. So when you coach business owners on success, right, what would you say is the definition, or how do they even go about thinking about what it means to be successful? And is this something that's objective, or is it something that's like you feel it? What, how?
It is definitely not objective. When I work with somebody on a business plan, I start above the vision for the business, and I start for the personal definition of success. That is ultimately what they're aiming for, and your business is just your vehicle to drive you there. And so there's a process that I go through. And one question that I ask is, if you won $10 million tomorrow, how would your life change? And have them start thinking about their wide awake dreams. So many times we just don't do that. We've been structured out of it, I guess, in our society or in business. But what are your wide awake dreams? What kind of legacy do you want to leave? How would you occupy your time? Would you continue to work? Would you volunteer? What do you want to do for your family? How will you know when you're successful? I can give you examples. I'll know I'm successful when I can leave a scholarship to my high school in Des Moines, Iowa, because my sister was killed when she was a senior and she never got to go to college. So in her memory, and this kind of helps ease my pain and have it come around to some kind of meaning for her dying so young, is that now I can do something for another senior in our high school to go to college. I'll know I'm successful when I can take my entire family on a Mediterranean cruise. I'll know I'm successful when I can sponsor half a dozen children through World Vision and go visit all of them. Those are the types of things that where I feel like I'm totally successful. Will I achieve all that? Maybe not. But at the same time, I feel really good knowing that I can visualize and I can work for something that is beyond just having a nice house and a nice car, getting my bills paid. Those are the things that make us more inspiring people and are naturally attractors for other people to want to be part of what we do.
Absolutely. And I mean, in our PHP community, we definitely have what I would call a lot of entrepreneurs who are very mission driven. So I love what you're talking about, leaving a legacy, thinking bigger than your business. And also, a question that comes up is, they're setting sales goals so that eventually they can have that financial freedom to do what they want and do the philanthropy of their dreams and travel the world. So, from more of a structural, I guess, perspective on business, what would you say are any objective ways to measure and track your sales success?
Well, I think the most objective way is number one, to set an objective. When I do business planning, our objectives that we build into that are the ones that are measurable. What do you want more of over time? And we do it for a year at a time. We do a 3-year plan, but we do the objectives, the strategies, and action plans for 1 year at a time. And so being very specific, and what do you want more of over time during this year? And set an objective for the year. And then as an offshoot of that, set 90 days at a time, set a sales plan. You need to have something you can measure to know if you're making any progress. And so, having a revenue objective and maybe a profit objective as part of your business plan is really absolutely necessary. And then as an offshoot of that, create 90-day sales plans to do just 90 days at a time, focused on one objective or another. It really helps open up possibilities when you start writing things down. And with a 90-day sales plan, it actually has a place in there where for every single objective that you're trying to achieve, a place to put in some names of people who can help you or who would be supportive of you. So those are the ways to see if you're making any progress in your sales. And also maybe in the types of customers that you want. Who's your ideal customer? Are you going to focus on having a different size customer, a different type of customer for the year? Put those in your objectives and then measure and see how you're making any progress with your 90-day sales plans.
Now, in terms of your plans, so you put these plans in place, and sometimes we hit our objectives, and sometimes we're not even close, right? So a question that's come up, a question that I got is, let's say, people say to celebrate your wins. Is it even worth it if you didn't get all the big results you wanted?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We need to celebrate every little step we take. It changes our brain chemistry. We tend to focus so much of the time on what didn't go right or what's not quite right yet. And I don't like using the word wrong because that has such negative energy, but what's not quite right yet. But you know, if you have a little win, you made a little bit of progress, have a big celebration about that. It will keep your passion going. It will keep your energy going. It will keep this positive flow in your body, in your mind, in your spirit. We absolutely need to celebrate the little things. I like jumping up. I'll just jump up and go, woohoo! You know, give myself a high 10, you know, and say, you know, I absolutely rock. We're not getting enough of that from the people around us, I don't believe. And we certainly aren't giving enough of that to ourselves. And it's got to start with us.
Mm-hmm. So if you're realizing that you're really having a hard time hitting your marketing goals, your sales goals, and if you were really honest with yourself, you'd realize that you don't necessarily have all the answers on how to take that next step. You just know to do what you've been doing. So what would you advise people if they really feel stuck in those two areas?
In marketing and sales?
Yep.
Well, one thing I would definitely advise them to go out and get some support. Go out and talk to somebody who is doing what you want to do. You learn from somebody who's getting results. The best way to, and there again, I don't know who said this, but if you want what somebody has, do what they do. So study what works. And then again, take that honest look in the mirror and saying, okay, where am I falling short on this? Make a commitment to do better. Make a plan to do better. You know, reach out. You know, give me a call. I'm happy to give a complimentary consultation. Give me a call. You know, there's a lot of support out there, so we need to reach out. We need to get it.
Yes, and you know what I really love about what you're saying too is it's, you know, a lot of times I hear from people, oh, well, you know, how are your goals going? Oh, I haven't hit them, but you know, just, you know, the economy is not good, or nobody's making any money right now, or whatever. And what I really get from what you're saying is, yes, people are always making money. It's just not you. And to find the people that are, so they're role models, as opposed to just hanging around all the negative people that reconfirm for you that nobody's making money. Is that right?
Absolutely. If you're hanging around people who are where you don't want to be, that's where you're going to be, is where you don't want to be. Hang around people who are where you want to go. There's another quote about, you know, we resonate and have thoughts or beliefs and actions according to the 5 people we spend the most time with. We need to be really honest on who we're hanging with. And if they're not feeding that part of you, then maybe you need to make some shifts in the time you're spending with them. You know, or you need to train them and create better boundaries on how to relate to you, how to support you, what kind of words they use with you. This is really essential stuff. We need to be taking care of ourselves. And if we're not training people on how to respect your dreams and what you're trying to achieve, then you're not going to achieve it.
Mm-hmm.
That is a sad truth. I was married to somebody like that who, was putting me down and was not supportive and was very critical. And it really affected my ability to even get out of bed in the morning, because I thought, well, what's the point? So we need to hang with and share with people who will help us get out of bed and get our feet on the ground and dress up and show up and do the work necessary to be all we can be.
Mm-hmm. And I really want everyone to just take a minute, and I want you to write down what Linnea said about looking at the 5 people you spend the most time with. And this could be theoretical, or you can actually seriously analyze this and make a list. Like literally make a list. Who are you spending time with? Are you even spending time with, people in business circles that are raising you up? Are you spending time with, who are you spending time with? And this ties into another question, Linnea, is when do you know when to give up? You're trying and it's not working and everybody's like, yeah, I don't know about this, versus when to play hard and persevere.
I think there's a mix there. First of all, I think it's always too soon to give up. There is a book that is called, I believe, 10 Feet from Gold, about somebody who kept digging and digging and digging and never found the gold that they were looking for. And the sad part was they were just 10 feet away. If they kept going, they would have found it. At the same time, if you're feeling exhausted, and I actually took a year off, and I had to reassess where I was spending my time and what I was trying to achieve, and if there's a better way to do it. So I'm not saying to give up. I'm saying just to step back and say, I'm worn out. I'm worn out. Maybe this is not the way to be doing what I know I'm meant to do. So persevering and keep pounding on something that is exhausting you. If you feel absolutely bled and drained by it, I don't think that that's a good idea, because we need to be our best and we need to be inspired. So my way of handling that, it may not work for everybody, was just to step back and sit and I had to release some activities. I was going to all kinds of Chamber of Commerce mixers at night and all this stuff. And I got to the point I said, I'm not doing this anymore. Mm-hmm. I'm just not going to do it anymore. It was exhausting. And the truth is, nobody was going to hire me based on meeting me at a Chamber of Commerce mixer, because frankly, they don't understand what I do in that short amount of time, and they're pushing their cart at me. So I made a decision just to do what I do differently, which is to do public speaking, and do more writing, and get my expertise out there in front of more people rather than just one at a time and knocking myself out and driving at night. I just decided not to do it anymore and use my strengths and move forward in ways that inspire me to be my best.
Yeah. And on that note about being burned out, I mean, you can be burned out because you're not getting the results. You can be burned out because you're not really in alignment with your higher purpose. But you can also be burned out sometimes you are in alignment with your higher purpose, but you're just burned out because you're wearing so many hats, in your business. And I'm really curious, I mean, especially now that we're planning to go into 2018, do you have any recommendations for people if they're thinking about getting other support or virtual assistants or anything like that?
Actually, I do have a recommendation, and I've done this a few times. Bring in a virtual assistant. I have gotten amazing assistants through San Jose State University to do some of my my social media. I can set up the engine to drive social media with Hootsuite, you know, feeding into the hopper, and then it blasts out to all these places. Excuse me. And I then would give what I wanted to be fed into that hopper for blasting out to my assistant, and they could do it on their own time from their own place of residence. And oftentimes, you know, you can get somebody who's an intern. They're very anxious to get work experience. They're very committed to learning, and I've really had wonderful assistants that way. So I would say, first of all, absolutely get a virtual assistant. And, you know, there you can also get an executive assistant if you want to operate on that level. But I've used my virtual assistants to do both of those roles. In fact, I've got a wonderful agreement. If somebody wants to give me a call, I have a great process that I use to start vetting people before I ever talk to them. And so the process that I use, I don't even end up talking to a lot of them. And so it's a way to save myself a lot of time and make sure I'm getting the right candidate. And then I had an agreement. It's not a contract, but we'd have a letter of understanding about what's included. And to be very, very clear, we need to make sure that we communicate extremely well with people that are part of our path to move forward. So yes, get a virtual assistant, and you don't have to pay them very much. You may not have to pay them anything at all.
That's great. That's great. So the other thing you said in your last interview was you discussed how it's important to go into the first 100 days of the year very powerfully. And I was talking to other members of the community, and they were like, oh, that was such a great idea, but why is it 100 days, Jose? And I was like, I don't know. I'm going to ask Linnea. So Linnea, why is it the first 100 days that are important?
The 100 days is a rule of thumb in the marketing community. It's a third of the year. Basically, it's about a third of the year. You can't always go by the calendar, 30, 60, 90 days. I mean, sometimes we need to cut our time into equal segments. And so it's basically a third of the year. So we have the first 100 days to really get our marketing and everything out there so we can start reaping the benefits and harvesting it during the last 2/3 of the year. So that needs to be our focus. And the cool thing about that is if we really jump in there the first 100 days and focus on that, then hopefully we will just start harvesting starting on day 101.
Awesome. So, you know, for some people, they're like, yeah, 100 days, I'm ready, let's go. I want to like get my, you know, plant the seeds. And so then, you know, I have the fruits on the 101st day, you know. And for other people in the community, I think they're like, oh, 100 days. Wow, that sounds like a long time. I have trouble planning my month. How am I going to plan 100 days? So do you have any, and I said it just like them too. So you have to have a sense of humor. Linnea, so what advice would you get them when it seems overwhelming?
Yeah, we need to do really smart planning. I'm really big on planning with the business plan and that type of thing. And when you chart it out or map it out at the end of this year, you can actually set a time frame of by what date or by what quarter or the end of what month you're going to do certain things. It really makes it more manageable. So it's part about planning. It's also about prioritizing and what groups are going to give you the biggest bang for your buck. If there are workshops or gatherings that you want to do it in the first 100 days. The thing is, in a lot of what we do, we're not recreating something or just creating something new like every month or every week or every day. We can use what we've done in the past and either refresh in the minds of people who have already worked with you or attract new audiences to what you do, but just keep doing what works and what you enjoy. If you don't enjoy it, it's not using your gifts and it's not part of your higher purpose, then that's when you get a VA and you have them do
it. Great advice. Great advice. And, and I also heard before in your interview, play to your strengths. I mean, there's so many ways that you can promote your business. There's no shortage of ways you can promote your business, right? It's finding what fits you and your brand and your personality and where your peeps are. And, and I think that's important.
Exactly. Some people are really, really good at networking like crazy,
Mm-hmm.
and, going to chamber mixers and collecting cards and doing follow up, and, having, coffee with 20 people in a week and that type of thing. That is not my strength at all. And I was exhausted trying to force myself into that role. And so I really had to step back and say, what are my strengths? My strengths are speaking and teaching and coaching and writing. So those are the strengths that I use. So I'm focusing more on speaking and teaching and to meet people and get my expertise out there. The networking just it's not me. And so, why should I continue to beat myself over the head to do something that somebody said we should be doing? I'm not doing it anymore. Of course, I'm coming from a different perspective too. I mean, I'm kind of, past the age of knocking myself out. I've had a career and I've worked in corporate and had my own business for a very long time. And so at this point, I know what my strengths are, and I've developed ways that work well for me. For anybody else, I'd say just go out there and try everything and see what works well for you.
Absolutely. And what's cool about being in our PHP community is that every month we have different topics. So by the end of the year, you can actually remember all the topics that you heard throughout the year. So we've talked about LinkedIn, we've talked about Instagram, we've talked about Twitter, we've talked about ebooks. Now we're talking about, how to powerfully end the year. Linnea did this awesome interview on holiday marketing. So it's like you have all these possible tools to draw from.
Yes.
And then in addition to that, so I would say 2 steps for everybody listening on this call. Think about all the interviews you've heard this year. Think about the ones that you like best in terms of your marketing medium. But then second, what Linnea said is also think about your strengths. Think about what you like to do and make sure that you're writing that down, because these interviews are not just for the heck of it. It's not theoretical. We want you to really be taking action, getting value, and the way that you do this is by doing it with us. Do it with us on this call. So make sure you're writing that down, because that's gonna inform your whole strategy. Kind of a big deal, right?
Absolutely.
So Linnea, you talked about a one-page business plan, and you talked about your 90-day sales plan. So one thing that comes up for more seasoned business owners, because we have seasoned business owners, we have newer business owners in the community, is how often should you update or really look at your one-page business plan?
Monthly. Next.
Monthly. I would love to survey people on how many people are actually doing that.
Yeah. When I work with a business that has employees, first of all, I tell them, and they don't have to take my advice, but to have an all hands meeting and share the business plan with everybody. It's a great leadership tool. It really establishes the leader, the business owner, the president, whomever, as somebody who knows where they're going as an organization and how they're going to get there. And with the business plan, it also has dates and names for accountability so everybody can see where they fit into it. And then review it every month. Are we on track with this? How are we doing on our strategies? The business plan is not, something where you're actually tied into it. It's something for review. The only thing that is eternal is the mission or your purpose statement. Why does this business exist? What's the promise you're making? But the rest of it is fluid. It's a map. But if you want to, if you find something that would really enhance your trip, you can go off the map and bring that in to enrich everything and make it a more beautiful journey. So it should be reviewed every month. Yeah. And set aside time. Put it in the calendar.
And I think that might have just been a huge aha for a lot of entrepreneurs out there, because I think there's a lot of entrepreneurs, of course, nobody we know, but who kind of treat it as it's one and done, right? Like you do your business plan when you're starting, maybe you use it to pitch, and then it just kind of goes somewhere. I'm not sure where that is, but what you're saying is that it's more of an active living document.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I know small businesses that have taken the one-page plan into the small business, SBA, and gotten funding for their business. But this is not the classic 10-ton doorstop business plan we're talking about here for funding. This is one page that is very, very powerful and it's very succinct, that is easily reviewed. The big business plans that are used for funding in the corporate world or the startup world and the angel investing world are written once at a very high cost and then they're put on a shelf. This is actually a living document as your path forward to grow and enrich your business.
Cool. So what do you think? And I know you touched on this a little bit, but if you could expand upon it, is, they're looking, they have this, like you said, it's about emptying yourself out, right? And then seeing what you want to put in that space, right? And so they're looking at all these possibilities of what they could do. What do you think is the most important thing to really give them the biggest promotional advantage going into 2018?
Clarity. Be very clear of the advantage or the healing or the benefits that you bring. This is, I think for me personally, this has been a difficult thing to define because of the type of work that I do. But to be very, very clear and concise, but very clear on what benefit you bring to the ideal client that you're there to serve. And if you're passionate about it, let that passion show. Let that love show through. That's my answer. Final answer.
Accepted. That's great. Finally. I have so much fun when you're interviewed, Linnea. No one could say there's a boring interview that you've ever done. So she's clearly entertaining. This is awesome. So I know we talked about a lot of different things on this call. We've talked about reflection. We've talked about planning. We've talked about virtual assistants. We've talked about, putting yourself maybe first for a change. We've talked about, corporate versus entrepreneurship. We talked about going into your first 100 days and why it is 100 days that in the marketing world we say to really think about, right? So out of everything that we talked about, Linnea, what do you say are the biggest golden nuggets that you want to leave with everybody? If you can only pick like one or two things.
Well, Jose, I can't just pick one.
I know you can't.
You talk about the nuggets from today or just the golden nuggets from life in general? There's two golden nuggets from today. Excuse me. The first is to treat yourself well. Take a look in the mirror, and this is going to be a long answer. Let me back up. Take a look in the mirror and look at your strengths and also what you could do better. And the second is using that information, plan. One minute of planning eliminates 9 minutes of chaos. This has actually been empirically true, tried and true. I'm so sorry. I gave a long talk yesterday to a crowd, and I was practically shouting.
I know that's what happens when you keep getting those darn standing ovations.
Oh, I know.
Encore, encore.
My back hurts from all the bows I had to take. It was horrific. But planning is a huge thing. Do a business plan. Actually, I'm doing a free workshop on a business plan next Tuesday. I don't know when this goes out, this recording, but on the 12th of December, over at a place called One Piece, which is over on Olin Avenue, over by the old Century Dome Theaters, across the street from Santana Row. I'm going to be giving a workshop there, and it's open to anybody. It's free, and we'll going to be going through business plan. And so if they want to attend that, they're more than welcome to attend. And the other nuggets is just to honor yourself. Eliminate or distance yourself from people and things that aren't working for you or dragging you down. That's absolutely essential. We're all put here to do something to make the world a better place. I absolutely believe that. And you can't do that when you have things tied around your ankles, dragging you back. So honor yourself first.
Yes. And I'm going to add one. What I'm going to add is Unstuck. Linnea wrote this amazing book about being unstuck and getting out of your own way. And I'm sure, I don't know a single person in our community or anywhere in the world that cannot use some wisdom around getting unstuck. If you are currently not stuck in anything, you're not probably breathing. So get help.
You're dead.
You're dead, right? You're not probably breathing. So everybody is stuck somewhere, right, in your life,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So definitely inquire to Linnea about getting her book. What's so cool is it's in these like little sound bites, and you can even post them. A lot of times people say, for me as a copywriter, I'm constantly working with clients on content, and they're like, oh, Joss, I don't know if I can come up with all this content. And what's so cool is you don't have to use your own content. You can actually take awesome inspirational things in Linnea's book, promote a women entrepreneur, promote great wisdom, help people on their biggest issue, one of their biggest issues, which is getting stuck in many areas, right? And the other thing is it makes a great gift, right? So, Linnea, can you just tell us a little more about your book, or how people would get in touch with you if they wanted it?
Well, the book is called Linnea Hagen on Stuckness, and it's 140 insights and tips to get unstuck, get going, and get what you want. And it's a little success journal, and every tip is actually divided into chapters, but every tip is 140 characters, which now Twitter is more than that. So now my next book, which will probably be called Purposeness, which is the state of being in purpose, I can have a little bigger tips. But so it's it's easily tweetable, and I'm happy to share content. I think we can all enrich each other. So it's on Amazon. Linnea Hagen on Stuckness. It's not just Stuckness; it's Linnea Hagen on Stuckness. If you're doing a search on Amazon or on Barnes and Noble, if they want to contact me, they can do so. It's Linnea at abundancecoaching.net, and that's LYNNEA at abundancecoaching.net.
Awesome. And if people want to get in, I know you talked about business plans and 90-day sales plans, and we only had so much time on this call, but let's say people want to get in touch with you, they can't do the 12/12 free workshop, but they still want that going into 2018. How do they set that up?
I would say send me an email and let me know if they want to be apprised of other events where I'm teaching this. I can certainly put them on my mailing list. I'm not doing newsletters anymore, so it's kind of like, how do I get on my newsletter list? But I do have a list of people who want to be apprised of different things. I'll put it out to the PHP community, and or they can just call me for a complimentary consultation if they're open to just getting some input. The way I do the business plan is it's a 4-hour process. We sat down next to each other, although I've had clients all over the country. But we can do it on the phone, and we spend like a maybe 2 or 3 hour block the first time and really sit down, and my clients, you sit at the computer and you're the one doing the writing. I will reformat. I'm a writer and an editor as well, and I can then take what comes out of your heart and your mind and put it into the one-page business plan format so that it will fit on one page, and you can easily share it with others if you want. And so we do that. It's basically it's a 4-hour process. So we can cut into different size blocks to accomplish what we need to do.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I know for many people, it could take them 6 months to figure out what they want on their business plan. So to be able to really get them to be that laser focused and know the right things to ask them so they don't have to figure it out on their own. And I mean, that's always my concern. I think there's great resources that you can get on the web. I'm not saying you can't get things on the web, but you just don't know what to do with them. Like there's a bunch of categories and you just write what you think you should write there, but nobody's telling you what you're missing.
It doesn't work. It really doesn't. I have seen it all over the place, and in formats that don't make any sense at all, with numbers that sometimes no numbers at all. It's how do you measure something if you don't have anything attached to it? And as a numerical, you've got to put some things in there, percentages or dollars, number of employees, or number of locations you want, or something. I've just seen it all over the place, and it really is beneficial whether you use me or somebody else. Somebody could take all that stuff that's kind of floating out there or in your head, and the shoulds and all this stuff, and get somebody who can bring this all in and synchronize it. It's pretty amazing. I've been doing this work for a long time. I actually started doing I've been in sales and been doing sales plans and marketing plans for a long time. The business plan, I've been working with clients, dozens of clients, and I've probably taught it to hundreds since about 14 years. And it's a natural gift I have. I just didn't know that until I got there. As an intuitive, I take all that stuff that's kind of floating out there and I just kind of synchronize it anyway and come to the intuitive period at the end of the sentence. That's how my mind works, is to be able to sift all through all that and make sense of it. So for me, it's easy. For other people, it's very confusing. So use me or use somebody else who is good at doing this.
Absolutely. So Linnea, thank you so much for being with us today, for giving us an encore interview on how to power up the end of your year and go into the next 100 days exceptionally strong.
Yep.
So thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Joyce, I just love hanging out with you in the PHP community anyway, so this is great.
And everybody that hasn't known this yet, Linnea is our new chapter advisor. So definitely talk to Linnea if you haven't, because, quite frankly, we only want the best of the best helping us with strategic direction, obviously ending 2017 and going into 2018. And, you could probably tell by this interview, she is the best of the best, right? And I know she won't say that, but I'm going to say that because she is. So Linnea, we love you. I'm so excited to have the community get to know you even more. And for everybody listening to this interview, make sure to fill out the survey at the end of this interview. Give us feedback. Tell us other things you want Linnea to expand upon or other topics that you could think of. And we will wrap up by just reminding you to promote your business and each other online, offline, all the time. Linnea, give me a P.
P.
Give me an H.
H.
Give me a B.
B.
What do you say?
Go PHP.
Go PHP. Hey, listen, give me a P.
P.
Give me an H.
H.
Give me a B.
B.
What do you say?
A.
Hey, we'll see you next
Bye.
time. Bye-bye.